I sit in the front of my laptop, and I have a television screen that I connected with my laptop because I wanted to read something on internet for you. And it's Leo Tolstoy that have said these things. Free thinkers are those who are willing to use their minds without prejudice and without fearing to understand things that clash with their own customs, privileges, or beliefs. This state of mind is not common, but it is essential for right thinking. It's easy to say. You know, this is what can sit in their office and say these things. But we have grown up with a family or people that should take care of us when we are child, and even if they don't care for us when we are small, when we are children, it affects us what they are saying and doing, even if we don't care about our parents or those that take care of us. Is it still going on a learning from them how to think and how to act? So that it's not so easy that Leo Tolstoy is saying. Tolstoy, I see him sitting very much inside his home and in his office with many books and paper and pen and thinking how life should be, the perfect life. But life is never perfect. That's why we are here on earth, because we need to work with what we get in the start of our life, what people have told us, how to think and see things. And it is from their education raised up, from their people that have taken care of them when they were children, and what they think as an adult. I have met many communist parents in my life, and they have educated and raised their kids to think negative of everything. That is always question everything, and question everything in a negative way. And of course, those children, they get that kind of thinking. Then is it the opposite side also? Those that I be so angry, so I try to avoid it. But I be very angry when I meet those Mormons, LDS church members, that they have a large family and they grow up in where are never lack of money, and they are smiling the whole time. I think it's many times a fake smile, but they learn to smile and never showing up that they are angry or sad. It's a picture that they have, the parents have created, but also the parents before the parents in the generation, that you should never show that you are sad. You should never show that you are angry. You should always think positive in everything. But life is not like that. That you know. You that listen at my podcast, you know. Life is up and down. And it's not good to carry things inside you that is negative and that makes scars inside you. Not showing it. The scars is there inside your mind and in your heart, inside your body, and you have been raised to never show it. And the opposite is that communist, the real, those that is really inside the communist thinking in generations. I'm not talking about all communists, but they are those that is raised since generations. They always question things, always think negative before you think positive, and that is also wrong. It's wrong both sides. That is because life is not like that, and it be a shock for these children that when they grow up, that the reality is not what they have been told of the parents and been raised in that way to think. And I know many communist children, they have make a suicide because they can't face the reality. In some way they are taught to that the world is evil, everything is evil things, and then when they grow up and make their own life, they see that it was a lie. It was there is good people, that there is strangers that you meet that is good, and they are not negative, and they see things that is positive, and the parents have always questioned those kind of things. Then they realize that was positive, and some go so deep down in the negative, so they can't climb up. And it's very sad about them that they make a suicide because life is so dark. There is no sunshine for them. That is the most sad, I think, that their parents have dig down their children, and the children going and dig deeper in the negative instead to climb up from that hole that the parents have done. And so it's not what Leo Tolstoy, that is when you sit inside something that hides you from the world, and that you only are together with people that have the same raised in the same way and think the same way, but as soon as it's coming something that doesn't fit into the positive thinking, then they have very hard to deal with it, and as it is positive thinking that it's very hard to know how many suicide there is in the positive thinking, that they can't handle if it's going in another direction. So I have met, as I am in member of the Mormon Church, but I am not with them anymore. But I had a hope for that church, so I was inside that church, and then I met people that smile, but they were crying in their heart, and that I didn't like to see these things because I knew they were bleeding inside them, and then fake, pretend that you are happy all the time, and that I have been in Swedish churches, Lutheran churches, and they also telling, and also those free churches, all the churches say that don't come in negative mood. Always pretend that everything is okay. And when I was going around here in my city, it's a kind of big city to be in Sweden. And when I walk around there and try to find me a church to be in after I come back from United States, then I was in some of these Pentecostal church and other forms of churches, all kind of churches, and they were and the pastor come and say, "Good morning, how is it?" And I told them that I don't feel me very well, but I'm coming anyway. And they say, then they run away and say, "Good, good, good," without wondering what's going on with you. So they didn't care. They assume that everything was okay, but I was not okay. I was on my way to be very sick, but they didn't know me, and they didn't know that I have just coming back from United States and have this post-traumatic disease inside me, and it was going away maybe for about 5 years ago, but it was inside me for many years, and so I didn't felt me good, but I was going to the church every Sunday to find my true church. But then I saw that there were no church for me in my city, but then it was after I have done my DNA that I passed by the Mormon church in our city, and the voice say to me that I should go to that church, and so I go off the bus and went back to where I had passed that church. So, and when I come to the church, it was open, and here in Sweden, the churches is not open in the weeks. Maybe in the evening, but this was in the daytime, and it was open, and that I couldn't know, because there was no one outside the church. It was that voice they say to me that I should enter into that church, and there was lots of people, and then I asked to get help with my family tree, that I had done a DNA test, and I have got some names, but I don't know how to look at who they are and build up a family tree. I say to them. Then the older man that was the one that was manager for the family tree, he said, if you be a member of the church, we can help you, because if you're a member of this church, you will could see all the database all around the world and build up a family tree for free. He said, because I had a look at how much it cost to build. It wasn't that I got it for free to build up a family tree in assister.com that I have done the DNA test. I only got the names, but I needed to pay monthly fee to build up that tree. But if I become a member of the church, then I had it for free, everything. So I have built up many thousands of people in my family tree, and know today who I am, for real, where I'm coming from. And it's not only in Davy's house, because it's the tribes, the whole all tribes is inside my DNA. So it's historical that they were in prison. The Israeli people that were in prison for what it is today, the Muslims area. So they got children there, and so I have part of Muslims. I have part of all religions, but my mother's line is in Davy's house, and then other tribes also. So it's not really clean. It's clean line to Davy's house, but there is other that have coming into it from other tribes. So I come to know how important it is with tribes when I was in Africa. I think one of the biggest knowledge I got in Africa was how hard it is to be in one tribe and then try to do something in Africa and be from a tribe that is not there in that city. I find out that they hold it very, very hard. They don't give food to poor people that is from another tribe. They can see them be killed. They don't touch them because they are not from the same tribe. So that it's very, very important in many countries. We don't understand it here in Sweden, and you don't understand that in Canada and United States and maybe in a little of these old countries that you have something form of it, that the tribe is very important, what tribe you belong to. But here in Sweden it doesn't matter. So it I I don't I may be coming back to it was this with now I know what it was I started with this with Tolstoy about to know that it is if you are born total by yourself, then you can be like Leo Tolstoy say, that you are a free thinker. But no one is there. We need to have people around us when we are babies or when we die. Well, there is people that come and feed you, and those that feed you, that is your first impression. That's what you get from. So it doesn't need to be a mother that give you food your first days. That good face you see that feed you. It can be a man, it can be a child that give you, and that affect you from the start. You have not thinking about that, but that is what the spirit is telling me now, because they touch me. And I wanted you to understand, to think in that way, that it's what it is that you need to clean yourself up from all those first impressions, and question it and wondering if it was good that you saw it, because they feed you and you saw it as good. But they maybe feed you for to use you later on in life. They maybe use you, they feed you because they wanted other people to see how good they are. This question is, of course, we can't think so deep, but I want to tell you that is not free thinking. There is no free thinking. What free thinking are is to clean you up from everything you have learned from the beginning and make your own path, your own thinking about what's going on. That is free thinking. This is what the spirit are telling. It's not me that telling. They are here and touch me very, very much, because it seems like it's a very, very important message from them that you should. They showing me like to braid the hair, that you take some part of the hair and braid it into this hair that you hold, that should be a braid hair of. And it's coming in there, and then it's be this braid will be what you are. And it's coming from many directions. You know, when you braid a hair and you take one part from one side of from the head and put it together, and then the result will be, if we say one braid, you get that braid this is the spirits talking. The braid is one, and that is what you are. That's what the hair will be that day when you do it. And it's coming from many directions, but going together to be what it is in your life. And I got, they make me remember that one night I got a message that was a man with white hair and white beard, white clothes of this higher priest. And he stood up on the mountain, and then he pointed out far, far away over all the mountains. And then he say only one word, and he say alloy. And I didn't know what does it alloy means. And I asked people on Facebook if they knew what alloy was. But no one, of course, no one have answered me when I have asked a question. No one do that to me. And but then I look for that word. I didn't know how it spells. So it took a long time to find out what is alloy. And there is one place in the Bible, I read in King James version, the old, from the 70s, like that. And alloy there, it means to put together all kind of metallic. And those metallic make it a metallic mix that is very, very strong, very powerful metallic solution mix. And that, what they remind me now, that of this to braid the hair, to place in. But you know that is not never a special we with Nordic hair. The braid will never be exactly perfect. There is always hair stray that going out, and you need to make the decision if you let it stay like it is, that is flying a little from the braid, that doesn't want to come in there. Let it fly away then. Or if you have to put grease or something like that to hold it inside the braid, and it's up to you to make the decision if it should be a perfect in people's eyes, what people want it to look like. You know, your aunt, it's a spirit that say this. You know, your aunt, she always complain of how you look like. And she will tell you that there is some you have coming loose from your braid that is laying there and going with the wind and are free. And you have to put it in. And she put it in for you, because she think it should not be like in that way. Do you understand what the spirits are talking to you about? That there is not a perfect life. it's you can make it up in a fantasy that the world should be perfect. You should grow up and you find that perfect man, and then you got your perfect family, the perfect children, the perfect job, the perfect job for a husband especially, and then the children comes, and the perfect children is not the perfect children. It's not what you are thinking about. And your husband was not so good. He lost his job. And what everything you dream about was not there in reality. And so that's life. And every time it's coming something that is against what you were dreaming about, you have to deal with it and come over and heal from it. We have got this weight because to not lose the focus on what is the real life, what is important in our life. And those disturbing things, that's coming from the enemies that doesn't want you to come to find out the perfect way to go to heaven and know God. And it's very much traps on the way to understand who is God and what's going on with heaven and earth. And there's many things. It's very much I know I have going wrong many times, but now I feel like I am on the right path, right way, because I have heaven down here, so they help me and they tell me what to do and what I should know, not think that I should know about. That it's a manifestation that I know this is really true because it's coming from heaven. And I know that yesterday I was talking about this taxi driver, and he asked me many times, how do you know it's true? How do you know that it's God that is talking to you? He was questioning me the whole time, very aggressive. And I say that it's hard. It takes time for me to tell you the whole story about why I know that it's God that is talking to me. I say to him, and I could only say that about this. I have make up my mind to do a suicide, and then it's coming a higher priest inside my home and talk to me about my childhood. And when he left, God come and talk to me. I didn't see him. I only heard the voice of God was talking to me. And from that moment, I know when he's talking because I know his voice. And how do you know that it was God that was talking to you? He asked yesterday. Then I told him that did he say, I am God, I am Allah? What did he say? What name did he say to you? He asked me very aggressive, angry. And I say to him, he didn't say. He had never say his name. Never. I don't need that name because I know his voice. And he said who he was because he was talking to Sarah and Abraham. He said that to me, and that was not Jesus that was talking to Sarah and Abraham. That was God that was talking to Sarah and Abraham that they should have a child. So I knew. In that way he said who he was. He didn't need to say his name. And from that moment I knew how he sounds like. So that the devil, I know also how he sounds like, because the devil sounds very smooth and like mild, and he's really slicking one, and that is not God. God is talking like a military soldiers. He have other things to do than to get us in that way. It's like the devil wants us to get to listen at him the whole time and do what he wants you to do. But when God is talking, he's talking about to do things. This is time for you to go and do things like that. He is talking. So I know his voice. It's not a mild voice at all. It's a command to do things. So this is... I am asking the spirits if it's something they want to tell more about. Because they were very much on me now, but it maybe was because it was very important. They wanted to tell you. So in the beginning was it me that was talking, but then they start to touch me, and then I go into a spirit. I was talking from the spirits. So you know that you that is my follower, you know when the spirit is talking inside me. You know that now they touch me because this is important. They want you to know that in one chapter you can find that chapter. That part of the podcast, they say that they will use my mouth. The spirit was coming, and they told me that they are going to use my mouth to talk to us, because they don't use the mouth. They have telepathy talking to us, so they don't need a mouth, but they need me to tell you what they are saying. So they use my mouth. So you that is my follower, you know when it start to come. I am not. I don't really know when they start to take over. Sometimes I know it, but not every time. So thank you for listening, and stay in contact and hear what's going on. It's only 2 weeks, I think, until I going to Jerusalem. So it can happen many things in these days before I come into Jerusalem, because it's so very important to arrive in Jerusalem for me. Whatever, I need to come there. So I focus on Jerusalem. Thank you, and God bless you.